Hello, if you're on YouTube, my audience is on TikTok, so that's why I'll be looking sideways. Um, Hello, Paige Lauren. You've been here before, I think. Name looks familiar. Okay, while we're waiting, I'd love to hear where you're from, and I'd also love to hear if you are new. I'm always interested to hear. And I am in Vancouver, Canada, and we're just going through a heat wave right now, so just heading into it. So everyone's sort of psyching up for it. Hi, I am. Liz, hello. So where are you from? What part of the world are you from? Abbotsford, BC. Taylor, you've been here before, haven't you? How was the wedding? Oh, thanks so much for asking. I'm very tired. It was wonderful. My daughter and her boyfriend, they've been together for 10 years. They got married yesterday, so it was just them. It was an outdoor little private wedding, and it was just the four parents, his parents and my ex-husband and I. So we all get along great. It was gorgeous. That's how my daughter wanted it, simple. They were going to elope, and then they decided just to have the parents, and it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Couldn't be happier for them. Where are you from? Yes, that's why I'm a little bit tired. I did have a nap, small and intimate. Yeah, it's becoming more trendy. I'm not a wedding person. Like, I just don't, it's not for me. And my daughter's the same. We like everything simple. We're very low maintenance. We don't like all that big fancy stuff. So I made her dress. It was absolutely adorable. I'm going to put that on my personal channel, actually. So anyway, she designed it and I made it. And it was just so simple. She can wear it out, lots of times again. So anyway, yeah, so I'm a little bit tired. So I'll get into it. I don't really drink. I had one drink at around 4 p.m, and then and that's it. So yeah, and I was just up really late. I was all hyped up. But anyway, it was lovely. Okay, so let's get going. If you go in the link above, you can see everything I've got to offer. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. The behavior board is different because you're on it too. I believe that in order to get respect, you've got to give it. And you got to give before you get, because your kids are watching you and you're the leader. So you lead. That means you start first. You give respect to get it. Now you got to earn that. You got to work for that. It's hard work to get it, but once you've got it, maintenance is very easy. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. I got an email. It was actually a really good email. It was one that I thought I had addressed in the course. Actually, I might fix the course up to address that. Email read course. It's the course about toddlers hitting, etc. So the mom said, yeah, I will do an email on this, but I'll answer it now in case she turns up here. The toddler is, it's about toddlers who hit and bite, etc. But she's got, sorry, I just got a funny text. But she's got a newborn, and the toddler keeps hitting the newborn or going after the newborn. The thing is, I say that when they get violent, you got to restrain them. So you've just got to completely protect that newborn. You can never trust the toddler alone with that newborn. Wear the newborn if you have to, like just get some, one of those things that you carry them in. So yeah, you just have to keep them away. I say that you gotta protect the newborn from the toddler, because the toddler has no concept of concussions, killing, harming. They just have no concept of that. So they're not being mean. They're just like, get rid of that thing. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to do a video on that soon. That was my email. Oh, okay. Yeah. So the course does address I will make it more clear. The course does address that if they get, that you have to restrain them. And so part of that is keeping them away from the baby. So I would just keep the baby on me and not let that toddler get near the baby. What defines the leader of the family? Can there be two? Yeah, there only needs to be one, but there can be two for sure. The leader, you can have two leaders as parents. The leader is just someone that makes kids feel safe. They give them confidence. They give them a voice. And they also they encourage them to make good choices, because leaders are very respected. Kids tend to look up to, we all do. We all look up to a leader. Would you ever be rude or disrespectful to someone you looked up to? And that's what it's all about. They just aren't rude to you. Once they respect you, they just aren't rude to you. It would be like embarrassing to be rude to a parent that they respected. So a leader is someone who brings out the best in them, basically, makes them feel good about themselves. And when you do that, then they just make good choices. It's just the way it is. It's It's almost like you don't even have to do anything after a while. Once you get that cemented, it's kind of maintenance is easy. Okay. 19-month-old biting. I have a whole course on that. It's up above. Yeah, they're just going to try stuff. It's consistent corrective actions with toddlers. They're not about words, they're about actions. So consistent corrective actions. Every time they bite, you say no. And also, once you've done that, once you've started this where you're going to teach them not to bite, don't let them do it. Like, keep their mouth away from everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? As soon as you see them going in for a bite, prevent it. Because once they're allowed to do it, it's almost like a green light. So prevent them from doing it after the first time as best as you can. You can't always do that, but do that as best as you can. Okay, after a tantrum, 2-year-old starts tapping her arms and legs. That's an energy thing. They're trying to get out this pent up energy because it's stressful having a tantrum. But yeah, they're going to do stuff like that. They're just sort of, yeah, it's just that energy's got to go somewhere. Okay, how do I stop my 11-year-old from having to tell him over and over to do his chores? So the nagging thing, yeah, I never say anything more than once. So yeah, I would say use my behavior board, and it's free up above there, and just put down follow chore chart, and then on separately just have a chore chart. Make it simple though. Set yourself up and your kid up for success. So make it simple. I would say 3 really easy chores. Something like this: put your dirty dishes in the dishwasher after you finished eating. Make your bed every morning before 10 a.m. So have a time. It has to be a time. And the third one might be put all your dirty clothes in the hamper and nowhere else. So the dirty clothes can't lay on their floor all day and then go in the hamper the next day or whatever. So yeah, make it really simple. And then say follow chore chart. If they don't follow that chore chart, then there's a consequence. So my kids, if they did something, if they forgot to do a chore, they would say, oh, shoot, I forgot to make my bed. Sorry about that. How about, I make your bed the next day or something like that. So they were just kind of self-disciplining. They just understood. But even that, once you get good at this, once you're a leader, chores and rules and all that, they just kind of take care of themselves. Nothing's a big deal. Uh, yeah. Someone asked me a while ago, and I keep bringing this up. They said, did you have rules for your kids? Not really. They just kind of make good choices, if that makes any sense. Like, I have no memory of ever telling my kids to go to bed or do homework. They just did. They just sort of did it themselves. They just kind of understood it was no big deal. We are split parents. So are we. Yeah, my kids went through all that. They don't really care if you're together. They just care if you get along. And they never saw us fight before or after. So we never really did. So, but yeah, we're not really the fighter types. Anyway, so yeah, they do just fine so long as you put them first. And that's all they care about. Get along and put them first. That's all it is. And then a lot of times people say, yeah, but what about if my ex is a narcissist? I can't help you with your ex. You take the high road. I don't care what your ex does. Luckily, both my ex and I both took the high road. We always sort of made it work, right? So we never did anything in court or anything like that. We never did anything. Yeah, never did any of that. Just made it work. We just put the kids first. That's all. Love your kids more than you hate each other. It's the best advice I can give you. So I'm a little bit sleepy today. I was up late. My daughter got married yesterday. I was up late. I'm not hungover at all. I don't really drink, but just tired. I'm not used to late nights. I'm an early to bed, early to rise person. How to teach them to make good choices through leading. Everything I talk about is setting you up as a leader. And once you're a good leader, they just make good choices. That's all it is. You're bringing out the best in your children when you're a leader, and they make their own choices. Like, I never really told my kids what to do. They just it was just all easy. It was funny because sometimes people will criticize me for, if you were just like do what I say. And not at all. Yesterday before the wedding, my ex-husband and my daughter and I were all here at my place. And we looked at some old home videos of her and my son too. He's 5 years older. They were so up themselves, like so confident. It was hilarious. Like, I always kind of remember them. I don't know why. I just remember them differently. My God, they were full of themselves. So yeah, when they've got a good leader, they're very confident and they have a voice, because one of your best skills as a parent is listening. You listen to understand and then shut up. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. That's like an authority. That's a pain in the butt. Who wants to tell a friend something and then they say, here's what you should do? Like, it's just an annoying trait, whether or not you're a kid or an adult. So yeah, listen to understand. And I was watching this video. I thought, God, my kids never shut up. They were so full of themselves, but they were really super, super easy, nice. They were just respectful, but it was mutual and it was cute. Oh, oops. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I'm just so sleepy because I had such a late night. Okay. Only child, 4 years old, and very bratty when around other kids. Whether or not they're an only child or not doesn't matter. And very bratty when around other kids. Okay, that's a tell. You're allowing that and they're getting away with it. Yeah, if I saw my kids doing something mean with other kids, there would be a consequence. I would say, didn't like that, here's what's going to happen. If my kids had ever hit another kid, that other kid probably would have got their favorite toy. Like there would have been quite the consequence right away. So yeah, I would get organized, decide how you're going to handle it, and then, and explain it to them. By the way, if you're mean to someone, that means this, that, the other. You're going to give them something. You're going to do something nice for them. You do something mean for someone, then you make it up by doing something nice for them. But yeah, get organized. If you want my help, you can hire me. It's all in the link above there. Could figure it all out. I'd get a system in place for that though. Yeah, ignore my toddler's tantrums, but they keep going and she throws everything around. Yeah, that's part of it. When they start throwing things, though, that's when I call it violent. It's not really violent, but you get what I'm saying. You want to prevent them from hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property. So if they start throwing stuff, you restrain them. You say no. As soon as they throw something, then you say no, and you hold them just for 30 seconds or so. Let them go. When they go for something else, you say no. You want to intervene after that first time you do it. And so when they go to throw something else, no, and you hold them. But then you don't look at them. Like once you've said no, don't look at them, because they're going to keep screaming and that you look away. So even though you're holding them, you're still ignoring them. It's kind of tricky. But yeah, if you're angry when you're doing that and you yell, it's not going to work. You got to be really no. And then you just hold them like that. Very calm. That's why I call it calm leadership. You're only calm when you're disciplining. The rest of the time, I was crazy. I was loud. We had a very loud house and we were loud all the time. But that's because I never had to discipline my kids. Like they were just so easy. They were self-disciplining, because I did all this when they were little. So by the time they were like 3.5 to 4, they were just self-disciplining. So, but when you're disciplining, my son used to say, if my mom ever whispers, run, because that's when I'm disciplining. So when I was looking after other kids or whatever, I'd say, I'll tell you what we're going to do here. And so, yeah, I got real quiet when I was disciplining. Oops, I just lost one of my screens. Why did that screen go down? There, it came back. Okay. Okay. How do you correct their behavior done at school? I've already started a behavior chart. I don't know what's going on at school, so I don't know what's happening, their age, what kind of parent you are. Remember, we're never fixing kids, we're fixing parents. We're teaching you how to be a leader. You lead and they will follow. So I would need to assess that. And if you want my help, you can hire me. Can you say stop? Why? What do you mean? What good is that going to do? I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I just take action right away, because if you say stop, that means you're condoning the first time they've done something. Yeah. Any tips for getting kids to shower? How old? How to motivate, communicate kids. How to motivate, communicate kids. I don't quite know what you mean by that. Oh, boy, I'm tired. Yeah, sorry, my daughter got married yesterday. I am so tired. And no, I don't drink. It's not that. I'm just not used to late nights. Plus, I got up early to go to the gym, of course, 8. Okay, any tips to get an 8-year-old to shower? Put on the behavior board. You have to shower, and you'll be supervising that shower. I would get them some shower gel, something that they like something, loofah, something that they would actually like. There's lots of different ideas I have. But yeah, get them new stuff. Get them shower gel they would like, something fun. You could get that paint or whatever, get fun stuff for the shower, and then supervise and actually tell them how to do it. I don't know if you're comfortable doing this. What I probably wouldn't do this with my son, but I would do it with my daughter. I would show her how I shower. And I would say, this is on the behavior board. You have to shower, you have to shower every day, whatever. And then I would show them how you want it to be done. So yeah, if it was my daughter, I would show her at 8, I would show her. I wouldn't show my son at 8 years old though. Grandkids, yeah, I don't teach grandparenting. It's frustrating. I haven't got grandkids yet. I've got one coming in a few months now, and it's none of my business. I'll just sit back and watch the show. I'll be interested to see how they go because it's none of my business. I'm gonna see how they handle their kids. I'll just sit back and watch. I won't say anything. I've never told a friend or anyone in my personal life how to parent. Why would I? Unless they ask my advice. But even then, I'm careful because that's my personal life, right? It's just different. I'm not their parenting coach. I'm their friend or their mother, whatever. You said your grandparents. You said your grandchildren. That's why I made that comment. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, 20-month-old not understanding how to spit when she brushes her teeth. What do I do? Are toothpaste. There are toothpaste, evidently, I used to get this for my kids, that they can swallow. Like you put hardly any on the toothbrush, but there was I didn't expect them to spit it out. So yeah, they just take time. You just got a toddler. They're just learning everything. I discovered the other day someone, when people give you really pretty stuff, bath salts and all that stuff. I'm not a bath person, but I just discovered the other day, if I get bath bombs, I will have a bath, but then I have to shower after. I just don't feel clean in a bath. But anyway, so I just discovered the other day you can use bath salts as like a loofah. I loofah every day. I love cleaning and I love hygiene too. So I discovered that you can actually use it as like a loofah. So like a shower scrub kind of idea. Okay, toddler throwing food. I'll tell you, both my kids tried that. Didn't last because if they threw food, I'd say no, and then I'd pick up the food, throw it away, and then I would hand feed them. There's no way I would let them touch the food for that rest of that meal. No way. They didn't do it for very long. They learned very quickly. Yeah, fluoride-free toothpaste is the thing. Yeah, don't worry about toddlers being able to spit. And by the way, they're watching you. So I used to brush my teeth in front of my toddlers and they would be brushing beside me and they're watching you spit. They just eventually pick up. Don't expect too much from them. I'm going to read out my five top toddler tips. Geez, I got to reword that one. That was hard to say. I should call it 5 tips for toddlers. Anyway, so one of them, it pertains to this, toddlers who can't spit out when they're brushing their teeth. So number 1 is childproof your whole house so you never have to say no. This is my 5 top tips for toddlers, parents of toddlers. Number 2 is toy rotation, so you never have very many toys out. You just rotate them so they're never bored. Number 3 is when you're playing with them, you enter their world as if you're a toddler. Play in their world. Become a toddler. Find your inner toddler. Okay, they just look at you differently because they just feel it's part of leadership. I was very good at entering kids' worlds, and they tend to listen to you better as they grow up. Okay, the 4th one is stop trying to figure them out. They haven't formed yet. So your expectations of them are kind of out of whack. So don't try and figure them out. They're just brand new, fresh human beings. Everything's brand new to them. And then the 5th one is stop talking to them. These mini therapy sessions, their language is not words. Their language is actions. So everyone wants to have these mini therapy sessions discussing big feelings, big emotions, talking. They're not listening. They're looking at you like you're nuts, okay? They maybe agree, yes, mommy, yeah, and they're not listening at all. So they're all about consistent corrective actions. They're watching you. It's all about actions because they learn through repetition, and it's all actions with toddlers. So that's my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Any advice for angry, stressed out moms? Yeah, I deal with this a lot in my coaching, one-on-one coaching. They always say, well, how do I not be angry? And I say, it's kind of like anything that's difficult. You just got to dive in and start and say, you know what? I'm going to try and get through a whole day without being angry. And then just start one step at a time. What happens is once you start getting respect, the anger goes away. But it's a slow burn. You gotta work on it. You gotta fake it till you make it kind of thing. Go in your room, scream into a pillow. I'm not saying you shouldn't have anger, but try not to show it with your kids. When you get angry, you look weak. Leaders don't get angry. Leaders are like this. Tell you what we're gonna do. This is blah blah blah. And then you're very controlled. You're very calm. No anger. So they're not going to listen to you if you get angry. They just don't. By the way, that anger, yelling, hitting, all that kind of stuff, when you get mad, it works in the short term, but it backfires big time down the road because it's a fear-based parenting. Your fear and theirs. It's not good. It'll backfire. But most of my clients do all that, so they start doing that. Should my 3-year-old have a consequence for yelling back at me? No, that's attitude. You don't address attitude. Never. What's the point? Yeah, you don't address attitude at all. Not with teenagers, nothing. Attitude is just a sign that they don't respect you. Work on yourself. Like if a kid gave me attitude, I would think, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? I always think of myself, I always go back to me. You can only change yourself anyway. And kids they want to be led. They desperately need, crave, and want leadership. You get good at this, that you lead and they will follow. They just will. They'll want to please you, because they look up to you. You bring out the best in them. You make them feel good about themselves. You're a really good listener. Their self-esteem is up here. When you're a good leader, they're very confident. They're very sure of themselves. So yeah. Oh, well, I never looked at that. You at home, they listen, but in stores, they don't. That's because you're a different parent when you're out. That's what. It's the only reason that makes any sense. That's the only reason. I was the exact same mother no matter where we were. 100%. No embarrassment, dealing with mothering. I'm proud of how I mothered. If I was out, I'm like, come on, watch the show. Like, I was proud of how I mothered. So yeah, I was the exact same mother everywhere. Everywhere. That's why they were consistent. What if they yell at someone else? Should I give a consequence? That still means you're not a leader. The best thing to do is work on your leadership skills. If they're disrespecting other people too, you got a lot of work to do. Because when they're a leader, when you're a leader, they would never do that with someone else. They just wouldn't, because they're respectful children. Leaders raise respectful children and they respect everybody. So yeah, that's still you. It's on you. Okay. Any tips for a 3-year-old going to pre-K for the first time? Yeah. What I did with my kids, and this is what I recommend to clients, is that you visit the kindergarten or wherever, and you, if they have a playground you can get access to, go in there, have them play. And if they've got a friend that you know that's also going, bring them, and just walk around, and you can, so you'll do the drive and you'll say, oh, here it is. See that, so they're more familiar. It's the strange environment that often throws them off. So, but yeah, and they might kick and scream and have an absolute fit and miss you and cry and all that. That's okay. Do the dump and run, like pulling off a Band-Aid, and then always end with, and don't like a short goodbye, not a long one. That's why I say dump and run, basically. So if you can see they're upset, the quicker you're out of there, the better. These people who run these places, they're used to it. They know what they're doing. So just say, and the last thing you say to your child when you're leaving is tell them when you're going to be back. Okay, I'll see you later. Then end on that note. Not bye. I'll be gone you'll be here for 5 hours. Say, I'll see you later, or I'll see you at such and such time. So what causes separation anxiety in a 3-year-old? Does it matter? They'll get over it. They'll learn. It's one of those things that it's just kind of scary. The other world is scary. Not having a parent around can be scary at times. They'll learn. It's all fear-based. Is acting out, doesn't want to obey. Well, I don't use the word obey. Doesn't want to make good choices is what I would say. Turns into a whole, how old though? I don't know. Are they 2, 14? I don't know how old. Yeah, if you could include the age, it would help. If they're yelling at a younger sibling, still no consequence. Why are they yelling at them? Like, what's going on? It's more the action I would deal with. So why are they yelling? Yeah, I would figure out what's going on there. Yeah, I have to assess the situation. I don't know what's going on. And it's different with everybody. Like I often am hired by, like when someone hires me, they often recommend me to their family or so. So I'm often hired by people who know each other, friends or family, and they compare notes. And they often say, well, that's nothing like what she told us. I'm like, well, that's coaching, right? I tell you what you need to hear in your home that works for you. So I can't always give a good answer on TikTok because I don't know you. But yeah, often they compare notes and they go, well, that's absolutely nothing like what she told us because you need to hear different things. Everyone's different. I have to assess your personality type too. Um, yeah. 3.5. I forgot your question. We'll go back. Is acting out, doesn't want to obey, and it turns into a whole throwdown. Well, just keep watching. Use my behavior board. That's free up above, or I have a whole course on how to get respect in 5 weeks. And that would, tell you exactly what to do. Do not rush that course. If you buy that course, it's up in the link above. Do not rush it. You can stretch it out by 1 or 2 weeks in the first couple of weeks, especially, but do not shorten it. Everyone wants week 4. Do not start in week 4. People who start in week 4 fail. You need week 1. You're in training in week 1, 2, and 3. That's the behavior board weeks. We get off that. I never used a behavior board. We get away from that. You're just learning how to do this. The behavior boards are just a teaching tool to teach you how to discipline, how to get respect, how to be accountable yourself too. You got to give respect to get it. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. Okay. How to become a leader. Well, I have a whole course on that if you're interested. It's up in the link, Bratbusters link above, or just keep watching. Lots of people just watch me forever and learn that way. Not forever. I haven't been on here forever because I've only been on here for 1.5 years, but no, parents don't always teach to yell. Not always. Sometimes, yes, but not always. Sometimes kids will try yelling, even if they don't have yellers as parents. So, yeah, yellers will raise yellers, yes, but it's not always. Okay, good question. I tried to provide healthy and nutritious snacks at home. How to talk kids to not eating junk outside? Okay, I'm a nutcase. I'm a gluten-free health food vegan. I wasn't vegan when my kids were little, but I was really into health food. So they had no junk at home. Like we literally had no junk food at home, and I made everything from scratch. Whenever they went out, I'd say, "Have at it. Eat whatever you want when you're out." And they always came home with stomach aches. Also, they used to say these funny things. Why is cake so different when we go out? Well, other people weren't cutting back on the sugar and putting wheat germ and all sorts of seeds in their cake. And I could mash up spinach and vegetables and puree it and throw it into anything. So, yeah, but when they went out, I didn't try to micromanage. When you're out, eat whatever you want. Like they go to birthday parties, always came home with stomach aches. The hardest age group for me was toddlers. They're all feet, cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. They're just physically, they're always a danger. So that was the hardest age for me. Teen was my favorite age. I love teenagers. Kind of sailed right through that. But I worked for that. I worked for that mutual respect. And we had a lot of fun. Most people say toddlers are more physically difficult. Teenagers are more emotionally difficult. I found the toddler age the most difficult by far because they're all feet, no brains. So you have to watch them. When you're out at home, I completely childproofed my whole house, so I never had to watch them. But when I went out, I had to watch them all the time. And I love talking. So when I'd go out and see friends, I found that difficult. I wanted to sit and chat, and yet, you just have to chase your toddler around because they're all feet, no brains, right? My daughter straight up ignores me. How old? I don't know how old. The thing is, if you're providing a really healthy diet at home for your kids, they tend to lean into that. Like as they get older, my daughter she became a holistic nutritionist. She's not using that right now because that's can't go far with that degree. But we're both super into healthy eating. My son's pretty healthy too. So they do tend to, as teenagers, they went through the junk food phase. But yeah, which you usually do. But I always loved healthy food. I remember as a kid, I was making salads at home. Like I just always loved vegetables and not as huge. I don't like fruit as much, but I love vegetables. So, but yeah, they tend to lean into it. So whatever is happening outside in the world, you can't control that anyway, and don't try to. I didn't micromanage my kids. When they went out, I thought they're going to make their own choices. And I was a leader at home, so they tend to take that everywhere. But yeah, they would eat. I remember once my son came home and said, well, they had pizza there, but it was weird. He was really little. And he says, it was really weird. The sauce was red. Our sauce, because I made my own dough, I made my own sauce, I made everything. So at home, the sauce was brown. Do you know why? Because it had ground up spinach in it. So he thought that pizza sauce was weird when it was red. I thought that was funny. But that's a personal choice. I'm not saying you should be that, radical, but that was a personal choice. You can only control yourself and what happens at home. When they're out in the world, they're going to make their own decisions, right? And you should allow that. But if you're a good enough leader at home, they do tend to make good choices when they're out in the world. Well, thanks so much, Jim Cully. Your videos are wonderful, very helpful. My wife and I are so glad we came across you. Excellent. Thanks so much for your support. I've been on here now for a year and a half, and I'm different. I'm not the trend right now at all, and I am just fine with that. And because the pleaser parent is a real trend right now. It's like the participation awards, rolling out the red carpet for your children, trying to make their life as easy as possible. That leads to raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. I think that's why we've got so many mental health problems, because they weren't raised to be tough. I've been watching this for 30 years. I'm in my 60s. I've been watching this for about 30 years now. And I remember saying, these kids are all going to be offing themselves. Like they just have no strength, no fortitude. I remember saying that years and years ago. And this is what's happening right now is this mental health is a real issue. And I believe it's because they were raised, their parents trying to make their life easy for them. And that's a big mistake, big mistake. Everything should be wonderful at home. That's their safe place. Wonderful at home. But when they go out in the world, don't go and try and get them the good teachers. Don't go fighting the cops to try and get them out of parking tickets. All that stuff where you're just not teaching them how to be accountable. You are not doing them any favors at all. Participation awards. I remember when those first came out, I thought, are you freaking kidding me? They get an award just for turning up. Are you freaking kidding me? How stupid is that? It's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. So you don't have to do anything. You're so precious. You just turn up. You know what that leads to? You didn't validate my feelings. Well, I'm just the bus driver, lady. I mean, come on. Think about it. How ridiculous is that? When my kids got participation awards, I'm not ashamed to admit I chucked them in the bin. I just did. But is that how stupid is that? Well, I have mental health issues because an alarming percentage of boomers are narcissists. I don't know about that. When I say mental health, I mean there's not a lot of strength there because they haven't had a lot of adversity to learn to overcome. Like I taught my kids how to handle bullies. I taught my kids how to handle difficult teachers. I taught my kids how to handle injustices. I didn't go in and try and save the day for them. I tried to strengthen them so they knew how to handle stuff. I never want life to be easy out in the world for them. And I also, I didn't want them segregated into private schools or anything. I wanted them out, like this is the real world, kiddo. And yeah. I did a TED talk years ago, and they didn't pick. They always want the juicy stuff, right? And the one that they wanted was can't remember what it was called, but anyway, I don't like doing speeches. It's not my strength. I like public speaking with interacting with an audience. I love that because I love interacting with you. I just can't talk to myself. But anyway, and I talked a lot about how parenting has changed over the years, and we're just trying so hard to make everything easy for kids, but what you're actually doing is making life harder for them. You're just doing it all wrong. If you're the pleaser parent style, discussing all their big feelings, trying to validate every single thought and every fart and every burp. I mean, you're just messing them up. It backfires. And I don't study other methods. I remember when it first started happening, I saw it coming. And I thought, boy, we're in trouble down the road. And yeah, it's too bad. How do we find your TED Talk? I have 2 public speaking things out there. One of them, I had a fever, and it's so awful, I've never even looked at it. I actually asked them to take it down. They never did. The TEDx one is it's called the hookup culture. If you look up TEDx, the hookup culture, it'll come up. And I did that 10, 12 years ago. I don't remember. It was okay. It's a speech. I hate speeches. It's just not my thing. But anyway, I did it. You know what? I'll tell you a funny story about that. There were 600 people in the audience, and they were all students, like college, university, the majority of them. And because it was through a university, TEDx's are done. They're not the TED Talks. The TED Talks are like Oprah. That's the big stuff. I'm no Oprah. Anyway, so it's a TEDx, and they're smaller. And it was a university that asked me to do this. They hosted it. So anyway, most of the audience was university students, and there's 600 of them. And they put me at the anchor spot. The anchor spot means there's like, 10 or 12 speakers throughout the day. And the anchor spot is supposed to be the strong one, because I did a lot of TV and radio. So they thought, and I can speak. So they thought, well, I was going to be the strong one, right? So they always put the best last. This is their idea. It gets funny. So they always put the best speaker last, thinking I would be the best speaker. So the guy who went before me was a college professor. And he went on stage and ripped up his degree and said, these are crap. They're never going to get you anywhere. Well, he got a standing ovation, and he came off stage, like they were all laughing backstage, and they went, good luck, Lisa. I had to go out after that guy. So, and it was so funny. They messed up. So yeah, I did fine, but it was just hilarious. They're like, yeah, good luck, Lisa. And they were looking, they were, oh, we sure messed up that lineup. They didn't know he was good. And if he'd done that with another crowd, it wouldn't have got a standing ovation. But yeah, he ripped up his diploma. And it was really good. He was a good speaker. It wasn't just that. I mean, he was a good speaker too, but it was funny. Okay. My toddler actually doesn't listen to anything, right? Because he's a toddler. Toddlers are not about words, they're about actions. Toddlers are all, you got to enter their world. You're expecting your toddler to find their inner adult. When your expectations of a toddler are completely out of whack. They don't listen. They just don't. They learn through consistent corrective actions. So I've got a whole bunch of toddler videos. Also, I've got some courses on videos if you're interested. I think I'm going to have to go. I am so tired. My daughter got married yesterday, and I'm not a drinker, but I was up very late, and I am just really tired. And I've still got somewhere I have to go tonight, and it's a long bike ride to get there. So anyway, I think I'm going to have to go. I'm feeling sleepy. So, and I've got a lot to do tonight. So anyway, sorry about that, but I'm just tired. So anyway, I'm going to get going. If you go on the link above, there's everything I've got to offer there. You can hire me for one-on-one coaching. It's all done on Zoom. And or you can buy one of my courses or download my free behavior board. That's all in the Bratbusters link above. And I will be back again tomorrow, way more awake than I am now. Take care. Bye now.